Hey everyone, Seed Butter here. I just wanted to let you guys know what's in the Supercut edition of the Mario Kart Wii Iceberg Explained. This is all 3 parts of the iceberg combined, but anything I got wrong the first time around or anything I just didn't know has since been updated in this long cut, often due to help from my amazing commenters. So if you've already seen the earlier videos, be sure to watch this one too, and as always, make sure to let me know what you learned or anything else you know about this game in the comments below.
Yahoo! Come on! Oh yeah! Hey! Hey!
Mario Kart Wii is an incredibly memorable game with loads of fantastic content that's both fun and intriguing. It's a staple game on the Wii, one of Nintendo's greatest consoles, and though it falls behind Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in sales, it's arguably the greatest Mario Kart game of all time. It was an instant classic for its engaging gameplay, taking advantage of the Wii's motion controls in an awesome way. The game, which is now 14 years old, may be a part of Nintendo's history, but it is far from forgotten. The Mario Kart Wii community is still thriving, and these community members are making more and more discoveries about the game daily. This iceberg, created by u/Chillin0, will go over an incredible amount of the game's trivia. From stories in the community to strings of data hidden deep within the recesses of this game's code to oddities and advertising, we're going to learn a whole lot about this game. Before we get started, I want to ask you to hit the like and subscribe button if you like this video, and make sure to check out my other iceberg videos if you enjoy this one. Anyways, thank you for your attention, and sit down, relax, and get ready for a deep dive into the Mario Kart Wii Iceberg. Also, just a quick note, I want to shout out the Cutting Room Floor and B_Squo, who discovered a ton of the stuff in this video. Next, shout out to the noclip.website for being a good model viewing resource, which I think you should check out for fun if you have some free time. And finally, I want to give a special thanks to Bento Cage, who provided a ton of help to me when I made this video. Let's get into it. Ultra Shortcuts. Ultra Shortcut is a term for shortcuts in Mario Kart Wii that cut down a huge portion of the track. These aren't just your run-of-the-mill shortcuts, but insane ones that may only be possible with tools and usually require a mushroom. They're occasionally banned in tournaments and speedrun categories for being considered glitches. These can be very fun to watch and perform, and their discovery and history is a huge part of the Mario Kart Wii community. 2014 Wi-Fi shutdown. On May 20th, 2014, the Wii and DS's online service, the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, was shut down. As such, you can't play Mario Kart Wii online anymore without mods. Like many shutdowns, there were players hanging on to the very end. One of the saddest stories for me is this video recorded the night of the Wi-Fi shutdown, where this race was cut off literally right in the middle. We'll talk about the last ever online match later on in this iceberg. And though this is heartbreaking as server shutdowns always are, there is still hope for those who wish to play, fan-made services. There are plenty of fantastic guides out there, and if you have a Wii, it's a super accessible thing to do. Wheelies. Wheelies are a Mario Kart technique available only in Mario Kart Wii. You could pop a wheelie with a bike in the game, giving you a speed boost, though if you were bumped, you would slow down. It contributed to bikes being overpowered in the game, which is partially why they wouldn't return in Mario Kart 8. Though that game has a wheelie animation, it doesn't actually have a functional wheelie in the sense that Mario Kart Wii did. They're pretty satisfying to perform, especially with the motion controls. Coconut Mall. Coconut Mall is one of the greatest Mario Kart Wii courses, perhaps the greatest Mario Kart course in general, I dare say. Okay, well, actually, from a competitive or technical perspective, it's not necessarily the greatest, but it's still a very fun and memorable course. It's been made into a meme recently.
You just got coconut mauled. Share this with all your friends to totally coconut maul them.
And it's also coming back in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, though not as well remastered as some were hoping. Drifting rework. I believe this entry refers to the way that drifting is a lot different in Mario Kart Wii from other Mario Kart games, namely there's the introduction of the automatic and manual system, and also in previous games you would spam the stick back and forth for mini turbos, which was removed in Mario Kart Wii. TWD98, from here on out referred to as Troy, is a Mario Kart YouTuber who plays a ton of Mario Kart Wii. He's extremely active in the community and he's created a lot of fun content. He's been credited with multiple world records and we'll be talking about him a lot in this iceberg. WiiMfi is the replacement service for the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection that I mentioned earlier. It was originally created to exclusively support Mario Kart Wii Play and launched May 10th, 2014. Created by Mario Kart player Weem, he had been preparing for the eventual closure of the server, so he actually had the program up and running before the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection was even shut down, which is incredible planning. Since its initial release, over 100 more games have been added to the service, including Mario Kart DS and Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Funky Kong Flame Runner. This entry refers to playing as Funky Kong with the Flame Runner bike, as it's essentially the best character and vehicle choice there is when it comes to speed and handling. The bike is extremely versatile, and currently, 14 of the 32 course record times for the game have been set with this bike. That's the reason almost all speedrunning content, and even just contemporary Mario Kart Wii content, features this character and vehicle combination. Same character glitch. The same character glitch is a glitch which allows 2 or more players to use the same character in local multiplayer, even though this wasn't intended for normal gameplay. To do this, you have every player select and deselect the desired character, then go to the previous screen, then go forward again and have everyone select the character. POW Dodge by Trick button. If you didn't know this already, you can dodge the devastating effects of the POW block by doing a trick at just the right time. If you pull it off, you'll spin out and lose items, but you'll maintain your speed. Mr. Bean 35,000 VR. Mr. Bean 35,000 VR, who I'll now be referring to as Mr. Bean to make it shorter, is an English YouTuber and incredibly prominent member of the Mario Kart Wii community. He's perhaps best known for being the first to crack the Mario Kart Wii security code in 2009, alongside his brother, Chatters, who's an equally important member of the community, creating the very first custom track in the process. He and his brother made further modifications to the game, and he was pursued and banned constantly by Nintendo for hacking. Furthermore, he and Chatters created CTGP Revolution, the quintessential Mario Kart Wii mod which adds over 200 tracks to Mario Kart Wii and is still updated to this day. He's also held 10 world records for the game during his career. He is generally loved by the community and he still streams Mario Kart Wii on Twitch to this day. CTGP. CTGP Revolution is the mod I just mentioned, created by Mr. Bean and his brother Chatters. Containing 216 tracks and 2 secret tracks, the mod allows for online play and many other innovative features. I'll link an installation guide for the mod if you're interested in playing it. It looks very cool. Galaxy Coliseum. Galaxy Coliseum is a Mario Kart Wii battle stage used during online tournaments. Now what this means is that the map could only be used in tournament mode, not offline, so you actually can't play it through normal means anymore. Each tournament was slightly different and the map and characters within it changed as well. The first involved a race to knock 4 spiky top men off the map as quickly as possible. The next tournament was essentially the same, though the rings of the map could fall off and 6 spiky top men were featured. The third expanded the task to allow for any cart or bike. As you can imagine, this course can be modded back into the game, but it's very strange that Nintendo essentially locked this content away outside of tournament mode. Character stats. Each character in Mario Kart Wii has unique stats based on the following categories: speed, weight, acceleration, handling, drift, off-road, and mini turbo. However, not every character has a stat for each category. They just have bonus stats, and the rest of their statistics are based off their weight class. As you could imagine, Funky Kong is generally considered to have the best combination of these. Inside drift. Depending on the vehicle you use in Mario Kart Wii, you can either drift inside or outside. Inside drifting bikes like the Flame Runner are very overpowered, and drifting outside is essentially an unviable strategy. Though inside drifting returned from Mario Kart 8, it was much less effective. Speed preservation. This is a very general entry that includes all the different ways people keep their speed up while racing, such as constantly popping wheelies and drifts. I'm not the best one to explain it, but there are a lot of valuable guides out there if you're looking to up your Mario Kart game. Bam! Shock Dodge. Bam Shock Dodge is a famous meme in the Mario Kart Wii community that comes from one of Troy's videos. Here's the original clip.
I totally am faster than him. I just let him pass for the sake of, for the sake of BAM! Shock Dodge! Yeah.
It's referring to a shock dodge, which is where you avoid getting shocked in one of a couple of ways, but in this video he does it by entering a cannon at just the right time. This video came out back in 2011, but the meme is very much still alive to this day. Paratrooper and PD Piranha. I'll just shorten these two items into one entry because they're basically the same thing. Both of these characters appeared in Mario Kart Double Dash, but they didn't return for Mario Kart Wii. And to this day, it's not entirely known why these characters didn't make an appearance, but icons for both of them appear in the game's files, so at some point they must have been considered. Hammer Bro. The Hammer Bro is a Mario Kart character that made his first Mario Kart appearance as a spectator in Mario Kart Super Circuit, and though he wouldn't show up as a playable character until Mario Kart Tour, he was at least considered to be implemented in Mario Kart Wii because of his icon's appearance in the game's files, just like the last two characters. I didn't combine this entry though because he wasn't in Double Dash, so his appearance was a little bit less likely. This entry is referring to a YouTube video uploaded in 2011 by 121KN with over 22 million views. It shows him using Flame Flyer Moonhop strats, which were new at the time. It's believed that the reason for this upload was that KN discovered the super low trick at the very end of the wavy section of this video, but in the description he admits he doesn't think it's that practical. Interestingly, because of the title of the video being punctuation, you can't find it via YouTube search. You have to get a direct link or have it recommended to you or search the channel. This entry's notoriety comes from the fact that for whatever reason, millions of people have seen this video end up in their YouTube recommendations. I know I personally saw this video years ago, even though I didn't go out of my way to watch a ton of Mario Kart Wii content. Me Outfit C. The Me Outfit C is a piece of cut content in the game evidenced by this icon left in the game's files. It's slightly different from the icons for the A and B outfits, which were fully implemented into the game, suggesting that this outfit didn't get that far along into development. Minimap Oddities. There are many inconsistencies between minimaps in the game and the actual shape of the track, suggesting that maybe the minimaps were made before last-minute changes to the tracks were implemented. One such example of this can be seen in the minimap for DK Summit, where some of the turns are much sharper than they actually are in the course. Some of these changes are really small, down to the polygon count, like this inconsistency in Toad's Factory. DK Summit boxes. Far below the map on DK Summit, you can find 3 item boxes in a line. It's not known why these exist, but it's obviously just an accident. Mission Mode. Mission Mode is an unused mode with some artifacts left within the game's files. It was probably intended to be like the Mission Mode of Mario Kart DS and speculated to have been replaced by Tournament Mode. Some references to it were discovered by Mr. Bean in 2017. He has a video on his channel highlighting all these details, which are pretty interesting and suggest some features like boss fights, a star ranking system, and upwards of 64 available challenges. There have been fan recreations based on what information we have, which you can play for yourself. Ultra Shortcut Revolution. The Ultra Shortcut Revolution is a phenomenal Mario Kart Wii 2-part documentary created by Summoning Salt and uploaded to YouTube in early 2021. I highly recommend watching it, as it goes over the entire history of Ultra Shortcuts in the game. It's an incredibly popular contemporary Mario Kart Wii video, which is why it's on this iceberg, and it's influenced a ton of newcomers to join the community. Airtime is slower. Despite what it might look like when you're flying through the air, you're actually much faster on the ground. What this means is that you should attempt to do lower tricks or get as little time in the air as effectively possible if you want to go fast. Some really good players hit ramps at the side for this very reason so that they get a lower height on the jump. American and European differences. There are plenty of small differences between the American and European versions of these games. Some of these differences are so tiny that you just wonder why they're there. Can you spot the difference between the European and American startup screens? No? Well, it's the trademark versus copyright symbol by the title. Okay, that one makes sense for why it's there, but names of settings are slightly tweaked, for no apparent reason, but they pretty much all retain the same meaning. Soft drifting. A soft drift is a drift where the wheel is only tilted slightly but a mini-turbo is still charged, usually used for tight quarters. It's very effective, especially when used in tandem with other advanced drifting techniques. Like many of these strategies, it's something you can spend hours learning about and practicing yourself. Weird records. While this is a very open-ended entry, I'm thinking that it's talking about records done with objectively stupid settings and character/cart combinations, like using carts instead of bikes, automatic instead of manual transmission, and just random characters. If you're bored and looking for some Mario Kart Wii content, I'd suggest checking some of these goofy videos out. Daisy Circuit Jump Scare. This entry refers to a now infamous video posted back in 2008 which claimed to show off a new secret shortcut for Daisy Circuit, but instead cuts to a jump scare. I won't play it, but you can find it very easily. A lot of people must have been pranked by this because the video has over 300,000 views. Eventually, around 12 years after this video's release, another shortcut on Daisy's circuit would be discovered. Would be discovered. Moji Lounge. The Moji Lounge is pretty much the biggest competitive community for Mario Kart Wii right now. There's sort of a perception in the community that this lounge is way too competitive, but hey, that's just the price to pay for Mario Kart greatness. You can check out this video here if you want to get involved with it, but essentially it's just another competitive Mario Kart Wii community. Bagging. Bagging is a strategy used in competitive 5v5 races. Essentially, it involves a team picking one bagger whose job it is to stay in last place for a good shot at getting the lightning item to shock the other team. Now, when both teams do this, the game essentially has two races, the regular race and a race between the two baggers to stay in last place but also get an item box. If you think about that strategically, that can get insane. The possibilities involved with having to be just slow enough but not too slow, it's crazy. And the need for bagging has created backwards driving strategies that are absolutely crazy. Melee of Mario Kart. I interpret this phrase to mean that Mario Kart Wii is the Mario Kart equivalent of Smash Bros. Melee in the sense that it has an ever-present cult following and plenty of room for competitive play and advanced strategies. Both of these games can be exploited and have tons of unintended side effects that have spawned tons of interesting strategies, and the next entry for both of these series tightened up those glitches, in some ways making them less appealing. Though both of these games are relatively outdated, they're still extremely popular and have insanely tight communities. Spindrift. A spindrift is a technique that requires jumping one way, turning the other way while mid-air, and then going back the original direction once landed. It helps racers travel along tight corners and get some more airtime. Characters don't actually matter. While this is sort of a meme, it's trying to say that most differences in speed come from your kart choice and not character. Unless you're getting into insanely competitive levels, your character choice doesn't really matter, and no, using Funky Kong will not automatically make you good. When you play with items especially, and if you know how to make a good character kart combo and you're skilled in general, you can probably use whatever character you want. However, when you get to incredibly high time trial levels, character choices are extremely important. Respawn Boost. A respawn boost or recovery boost is a long-standing technique that's been used since Mario Kart 64. It entails getting a boost when Lakitu drops you onto the track, which is very helpful for players that have lost some ground. Essentially, you have 8 frames of opportunity to hit a trick when dropped, and this can be very difficult because with different terrain, you're actually dropped from different heights, making this insanely difficult to pull off sometimes. Lightweights. Again, this is an open-ended entry, but it's probably referencing the fact that in general, lightweight characters are not useful in the game. Though there are some shortcuts accessible only to lightweight cars, they get bumped around a lot and don't go as fast, which is why they're generally absent from high-level online play. American flag. Strangely, there's an unused sprite for an American flag that's different from the one used in the final version of the game. It was probably a placeholder and not an earlier version of the flag due to the fact that it's much blurrier than the updated version, and there are no blurrier versions of other countries' flags anywhere in the game. Overlapping item boxes. In Waluigi Stadium, for some reason, there are 2 item boxes placed in the exact same spot. You can occasionally see them clipping through one another. The reason for this is unknown, but we can assume that they were just doubled on accident. Coconut Mall Boost Gradient. Now, you probably didn't notice this while racing, but at Coconut Mall, the boost pad color gradient is rainbow as opposed to the typical pinkish, reddish, yellowish gradient. Not only that, but the icon is slightly different. It's likely this is left over from an earlier build in the game, but they just forgot to change it. Draw_demo. I have no idea how epilepsy works, but this hurt my eyes to look at, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw out a photosensitivity warning. Draw Demo is an incredibly cursed course left in the game. As the name suggests, it was probably just a test for the game's rendering, and it's just a version of Mario Circuit, but with a few differences. There are no animations in the course, the chain chomp is missing, and there's the obvious fact that it looks like this. I'm honestly not sure how this hasn't been the setting for a terrible creepypasta or something like that. It's so awful to look at. Ugh. 4 GCN Mario circuits and files. So there are a total of 12 unused courses listed in the game's files, like Draw Demo and a few others. 4 of them, however, are slightly different versions of GCN Mario Circuit. The first one appears to be a direct port from Double Dash, and the other 3 are similar but with some technical differences. In the files, they're differentiated by different names of team members, being Hayase, Narita, and Yabuki. They take significant effort to be loaded into the game, and they can't just be swapped with another course. It's not fully understood why the developers left 4 full versions of this track behind in the game. Magic Cruiser and Quacker concept art, and Mecha Koopa and Cloud Bikes. I'm combining these 2 entries because they're referring to the same piece of concept art. Concept art for the game shows off lots of interesting early designs, and these bikes are no exception. This early concept art shows the Magic Cruiser and Quacker in an early stage of design. However, you can also see 2 bikes based off Mecha Koopas and Lakitu's Cloud, which, though well designed, didn't make it into the game. Early vehicle colors. There were some slight changes to vehicle colors throughout the game's development, and you could see a pretty well documented list of them over at the cutting room floor. One good example is the Bullet Bike, which had different color schemes for 7 different characters. Lap count beyond 3. In normal gameplay, there's no way to increase the lap count beyond 3, though this can be done while modding and breaking the game, like this absolute madman who drove backwards for 2 weeks. It's strange because previous entries in the series like SUPERCUT had the ability to go over 3 laps, but it wasn't present in Mario Kart Wii. Also, many custom tracks have more than 3 laps, which was done easily because in the files of the game there are textures for Lakitu's sign that go up to the number 8. Concept art tracks. There isn't a ton of concept art from the game out there, but there were 2 tracks in particular that had early artwork make their way onto the internet, those being Luigi Circuit and Dry Dry Ruins. Luigi's Circuit is fairly similar, but Dry Dry Ruins is much different. Interestingly, an original idea for this track was to have Mii heads on sphinxes. Horizontal wall. The horizontal wall glitch lets you pass through certain floors if the floor is giving wall collision, which is usually done by accident. The most notable use of this glitch is the popular Coconut Mall shortcut. Quacker is the best vehicle in the game. This is kind of a meme because it's definitely not the best vehicle in the game. In fact, it's the 3rd slowest. However, it does have the best acceleration and highest stat total of any vehicle in the game, being 343 points. So in that sense, perhaps it is the best. No, it's really not. I'm just kidding. Off-roader flag differences. So in my original upload, I thought this entry was referring to how the flag on the off-roader cart wasn't present in an earlier version of the game, but the creator of the iceberg was actually saying that the color of the flag changes depending on what character you use, which is actually a pretty cool detail. YouTube soundtrack Wipeout. Earlier this year, Nintendo took down a ton of videos with their music in it. Notably, it included videos with Mario Kart Wii music. It literally happened to thousands of videos. Weemfi mentioned on Wikipedia article. On the Wikipedia page for Mario Kart Wii, there's a mention of CTGP under the Legacy section. Apparently, though, there used to be a much bigger description of it and Weemfi. There's nothing crazy here, just that the fan creation was mentioned on the main Wikipedia page, and that's pretty interesting. Mario Kart X. Mario Kart X was a working title for the game, coming from the word extreme often associated with dirt bikes, given that they would be in the game. However, Super Smash Bros. X, the Japanese title for Smash Bros. Brawl, already had the X, so it was decided that Mario Kart couldn't have it as well. This comes from an Iwata Asks interview that I recommend reading if you're more curious about this process. Mario Kart Emporium is real. So this entry is obviously a joke, but it's suggesting that this place from Mario Kart Wii commercials is real. Check it out.
Mariokart Emporium! Just look at all these carts! How'd this little beauty end up all squidded? Look at the footage! How'd this one end up so tiny? Look at the footage. How'd this one get all blowed up? You know what to do. Look at the footage. This weekend only, come on down and get behind the wheel. Can't make it down for a deal? Then buy Mariokart Wii. Rated E for everyone.
As you probably guessed, this is not a real place, but we'll talk about this more later as we actually don't know much about the Mario Kart Emporium. Bob-omb hitbox size. I think this entry is just referring to how annoyingly large the hitbox of the Bob-omb is. Honestly though, it's just part of the chaotic nature of Mario Kart Wii. Rapid-fire hop abuse. Rapid-fire hop abuse is a technique in the game that's impossible for humans to perform because of its speed. Essentially, you hop at the fastest possible rate, that being every other frame. It's been used to get extremely low tricks off of ramps, initiate a super grind, or even get airtime in very select circumstances, and is essential to task speedruns. Waluigi Stadium is poorly designed. In the original video, I talked about this video by Troy where he talks about a particularly bad race he had on this course, but there's a little bit more to this entry than just that. From a competitive standpoint, this course can be very annoying because it ends on a ramp, meaning that if you get targeted by a player with a shock power-up, your race can be ruined at the very end regardless of how well you did leading up to that point, which is a bit unfair. For this reason, it was actually tweaked in the Rebalanced mod. Reused assets. While there isn't a perfect list of what was reused, a ton of content including character models was reused from Mario Kart Double Dash, based on how similar these games are visually. Stacked item boxes. The creator of this iceberg explained that this is just a copy of the double item boxes we already talked about. Kinda ironic that he doubled this entry too. Peach Beach sub 1 minute. The current world record with ultra shortcuts for Peach Beach is 1 minute and 0.049 seconds, set by Arrow back in 2020. This is insanely close to a sub 1 minute time. It's begging to be broken. 0.049 seconds, by the way, is literally 3 frames. Despite this, no one's been able to do it. A player by the name of Nim did submit a sub 1 minute time back in 2015, but without a replay file or ghost, so it's believed that this was either cheated or otherwise illegitimate. Who knows, maybe you could be the one to break 1 minute. Bowser's Castle theme is Maple Treeway's theme slowed down. Interestingly, the music in Bowser's Castle is the same as that of Maple Treeway, just slowed down. Okay, well, it's not actually the same music, a remix would be a better term. It's slowed down and you can recognize a similar melody, but there are some different instruments and sound effects thrown in. Either way, they're certainly connected. I'm not going to play the full tracks here, obviously, because Nintendo might come after me, but you can check out a more in-depth comparison here. Mario Kart Wii Physics for the Win. Mario Kart Wii Physics for the Win is a meme within the community that came from Troy's channel. It's something he says a lot, and he's even made Mario Kart Physics compilations. The phrase comes from sometime around 2012, but I'm not exactly sure what video it was first used in. It's obviously poking fun at the fact that sometimes Mario Kart Wii physics make absolutely zero sense. I'm going to sort of brush over this entry. Unfortunately, like any online community, the Mario Kart Wii community has had its fair share of abusers acting inappropriately and dangerously towards minors. I don't want to give any attention to any single name or person, but it has happened, and you can look it up for yourself if you're really curious. Remember to stay safe online, speak up when you can, and know what resources are available to you if you or someone you know has been victimized. Also, never support or condone abusive creators. Lakitu can be squished. I have no idea why you'd want to be so mean to the guy that helps you out when you fall off the track, but Lakitu can be affected by environmental hazards under the right conditions. This entry specifically refers to the version of Lakitu that appears when you turn around backwards and can be squished by thwomps if you're in the right spot. Yikes. Mii's at Coconut Mall were killed. In the disappointing remake of Coconut Mall, one of the things that has fans angry is the fact that the Miis are absent. This maybe makes sense from a design perspective because the Miis didn't have as much of a role in the Switch as they did on the Wii, but still, it's strange. There's no explanation for their disappearance, so is it possible that Nintendo executed them? It wouldn't be the first time, so I won't rule it out. Peaks controversy. The Peaks controversy stems from Mushroom Peaks, an insanely difficult CTGP course created by Mr. Bean and Chatters. It was one of the first custom tracks ever made, which is why despite many people despising it for its difficulty, Mr. Bean refuses to remove it from CTGP. It's long been considered the first hurdle to get into the game. It's a huge barrier to new players and is often spammed in lobbies for that reason. So new players find it challenging, but experienced players find it boring because once you figure it out, it's just not that fun for some people. Mr. Bean doesn't usually like removing courses, and since this one has some historical value, I'm not surprised he won't remove it. This argument has caused lots of controversy in the community, though. Special Cup Carpet. In Bowser's Castle, this carpet has a small special cup embroidered on there. Not many people have noticed it, though, due to how fast you're moving. Chain Shop and Honey Coop. Strangely, in the texture map for the Honey Coop, you can find an icon of a chain shop that you don't actually see on the car. I have no idea why it's there. DK Feet Texture. Finally, the chance to talk about an ape's foot on my channel. In the character selection screen of the game, you might notice that Donkey Kong's feet look a bit strange, and that's because his ankle is actually his mouth. It's a weird texture issue, and it's something I will never unsee, and congratulations, because now you will never unsee it. DK Summit Area. So in Mario Kart Wii, area files are regions where the player can be inside so that the game knows what camera to use for replays and some other things. However, the area file for Donkey Kong Summit is unusually gigantic. It pretty much dwarfs the rest of the course. The cutting room floor suggests it might have something to do with the fog on the course, but it's only speculation, and the reason behind this huge file remains a mystery. Selection screen and gameplay texture differences. So the game uses slightly different character models during gameplay as opposed to the ones featured on the selection screen. A notable one is Donkey Kong. Like we just mentioned, the foot issue only appears on the character selection screen and not during gameplay. Donkey Kong Mountain missing translation. So when Donkey Kong Mountain was ported to Mario Kart Wii from Double Dash, it was done so almost perfectly. Almost. Because this random transition between two sections of the road isn't there, and they just have this abrupt, ugly transition. It's not a huge problem by any means, but it's clearly an oversight when this course was being created. 95% rule. The 95% rule is an interesting but incredibly complicated concept in the game that is best explained in this video. To put it simply, the game will disregard a lap where the player skips at least 95% of it. So to make the perfect shortcut, you ideally have to skip 94.99999% of the shortcut. It's especially important to understand this Coconut Mall shortcut, but in general, this is a concept that really only pertains to advanced runs. Desert Hills backwards shortcut. I believe this entry is referring to this shortcut right here. It's usually banned in online competitive play, so I wouldn't advise trying it. Cut Boo item. It's speculated that a Boo item was originally intended to be in the game. How do we know this? Well, according to Nintendo Power Volume 227, Boo was listed as an item for the game, but obviously never appeared. Why is this? We don't know. Off-roader can wall clip. I didn't have a great answer for this in the previous video, but essentially the off-roader can wall clip the best out of all of the carts in the game because of how much it leans backwards. You can see a good demonstration of what I'm talking about right here. Stats on selection screen are wrong. The graphics on the vehicle select screen don't read from vehicle stats, but a separate file called machine_para.bin. This is done because if the real stats were read, some would be lopsided when put onto the bars, or they just don't fit perfectly well relative to one another. So the stats were basically just estimated, and in doing so, the devs got many completely incorrect. Interestingly, the devs seem to mistake drift acceleration bonus with drift points, so they have points in the drift category that should be in the acceleration category. Basically, what this means is these stats just mean absolutely nothing. Dutch translation. Dutch is a Wii-supported language, but strangely, it's not available in Mario Kart Wii. It's the only missing Wii-supported language. Ending red pipe. The ending red pipe is this pipe in the screen of the rankings banner taking place at sunset. It's strange because when you compare it to the one at daytime, the pipe is green. For whatever reason, the sunset banner for Luigi's Circuit is just poorly edited, and there's actually other issues like hills missing, and the red pipe is really just one of them. Mario Raceway Invisible Wall. Okay, I kinda got this entry completely wrong in the first cut. I actually referenced an issue present in an early version of a modded track. This is the invisible wall the creator of the iceberg was actually referring to. The issue here is that there are invisible walls intended to stop you from jumping over the rails, but this one actually pushes out much farther than it should. Beta textures in the base game. You can find some textures hidden in the game's files that were likely used during an early stage of development but were eventually removed. These include Wii wheel icons, a different Luigi circuit banner, and what I think is most interesting is the Luma's original color. Interestingly, the original Luma color is present in the true ending cutscene, but not during the awards ceremony. You can see here that they're slightly different, so the developers probably just forgot to replace it. Though, to my knowledge, the Luma is the only potential beta texture that you can see during normal gameplay. And also, if it's a beta texture that ends up in the real game, at that point it's really not a beta texture anymore, so maybe these guys are just slightly different colored for whatever reason. POW Hop Dodge. A POW hop dodge is when you avoid the impact of a POW block by hopping in a very precise window. It's extremely difficult to pull off, but can be done fairly consistently. It's pretty similar to the other POW dodge we talked about earlier. Special Ghosts. Special Ghosts were ghosts sent by Nintendo through the internet. Many think this was an unused feature since it isn't mentioned on the English web a lot because it wasn't used in the West whatsoever, but it was actually used for two individuals, Kim Bum of Korea and Medeka Ikono of Japan. Kim Bum's ghost was advertised by Nintendo, even showing a video of him recording his lap time. Though it's in Korean, most of the website has been archived, which you can check out. It's a similar deal for Ikeno, who was chosen for appearing in some Japanese Nintendo commercials. This is pretty cool, and it's interesting that Nintendo added this feature and only used it twice. Going into Rainbow Road Cannon backwards. This is another entry I got totally incorrect in the first cut, where I also referenced a modded track. This entry is actually referring to an old joke in the community where it was suggested that if you went into the cannon backwards, you would come out playing as the baby version of your character. While that's totally untrue, it is however still possible to complete Rainbow Road backwards using some impressive bagging strats. Ramps are unbelievably complicated. This is a pretty open-ended entry, but it's sort of just talking about how there's much more to ramps than meets the eye. There are so many ways you can hit ramps differently, and if you're interested in learning more, I suggest checking out one of the many Mario Kart Wii Advanced tutorials out there. HD China release. Oddly enough, Mario Kart Wii was intended to be released in China on the NVIDIA Shield. Since the Wii was released during China's lengthy console ban, Mario Kart Wii was never launched in China, so Nintendo had the idea to launch an HD version of Mario Kart Wii on the NVIDIA Shield, a streaming device, in order to make some sales off the game since it never had the chance to be released in China, along with some other GameCube and Wii games. It had unique features to the game too, the most important one being that it ran in 1080p. The game was playable and has been spotted, but due to a slump in the government approval process, the game has yet to be released. There's really no information on the status for this build, but we can safely assume that we won't see this HD remaster of the game. A semi-related but interesting fact regarding this entry is that in the Korean version of Mario Kart Wii, lurking in the files are some artifacts of a simplified Chinese translation that never saw the light of day. Hopefully we can get some more information on the HD version soon. Big Penguin Reflection. In a fall 2007 press conference for Mario Kart Wii, 11 screenshots of the game were showed off. Notice anything weird about this one? Anything? Take a guess. Maybe it's the fact that it's facing the wrong way and like 10 feet away from the real penguin. When the game was released, little penguins had reflections, but big ones like this guy didn't. It's a tad strange that the reflection got removed instead of fixed, but hey, maybe there's a more complicated reason behind this. Who knows? All Miis have wrong assigned stats. Miis in the game have incorrectly labeled stats. In fact, small Miis use Rosalina stats, medium Miis use small Mii stats instead of their intended stats, and large Miis try to use the medium Mii stats. It's a pretty strange mix-up, to be honest. Baby Peach and Baby Daisy crown movement. So in the game, these characters have crowns, obviously, but they seem very fixed onto the head. However, there's leftover animation data in the game that reveals that the crown could have moved independently of the head like this. I'm not really sure why they took it out, especially because the animation seems pretty complete. Tie bone leftover. In a similar vein to the previous entry, Funky Kong actually has an animation bone named Tie_1, which comes from all of his animations being copied from Donkey Kong. However, since he doesn't have a tie, the bone isn't attached to anything, but is still left in the files. If anything, this shows that these two characters weren't made to be similar, but that Funky Kong was genuinely just a copy of Donkey Kong with a texture change at the last minute. Also, this is random and not part of the entry, but I saw it on the cutting room floor page and I just had to show it. There's 2 leftover animations in the game's files of Luigi punching, which is just super funny. I mean, look at the size of his hand, it just gets huge. DKM Bridge Teleportation. I'm not entirely sure what this entry is about. It may be referring to this technique right here, but again, I'm not entirely sure. CPU Racers Drive Backwards. If you watch the end sequence of Luigi's circuit, the camera pans upwards after you cross the finish line. Now, if you were to keep watching or otherwise follow the cars by using a FreeCam mod or other means, you would see this crazy thing happen. I have literally no explanation for this. Lap Underflow. Lap underflow is a very complicated technique that I myself don't fully understand, so I highly recommend watching this video for a better explanation. One of the outcomes of this is being able to get to lap 4 out of 3 while driving backwards. Yes, you did hear that correctly. I recommend checking it out. You can't skip the 50cc credits. While playing at 50cc, you can't skip the credits, though you can at higher speeds. I assume this is because Nintendo assumed that you would be playing for the first time at 50cc and they wanted to ensure you would watch the credits during your first playthrough, but afterwards you would be able to skip it, but you can't actually go back and skip it ever for 50cc. Zip Zip is the best vehicle in the game. This is absolutely true. I challenge you to go into Moji Lounge and just pick up the Zip Zip because of its incredible stats. No, actually, please don't. This is a meme. The Zip Zip is terrible. Korean font. Strangely, the Korean release of the game features a slightly different font compared to NTSC and PAL regions throughout the menus. It's very hard to tell, but the letters are slightly more condensed. Lost Tournaments. I believe this entry is just talking about the fact that many tournaments were one-time events and can never be played again. It's a crazy format to me. I think it's cool to host the tournaments, but strange not to leave the maps playable for custom games afterwards. It's awesome that these tournaments were held all those years ago and that they continued until 2014. But yeah, these tournaments had unique objectives that without mods can't be played anymore. A group of players led by Lesserate have been working on archiving the tournaments that have been run, and as of last year, all except for the 3rd tournament have been recovered so you can play them yourself. Marty Alternate Path. Something I didn't get in the first cut of this video, but this guy right here is our friend Marty. Now, starting way back in the early 2000s, during the era of Mario Kart 64, it was rumored that you could unlock Marty as a playable character, or at the very least, interact with him somehow by getting into his jail cell. This rumor, which is completely false in both games, carried over in some capacity to Mario Kart Wii. Unfortunately, you can't free Marty or play as him in the vanilla game. There is, however, a custom version of this track, which I think is sometimes referred to as Marty's alternate path because of this arrow right here, so yeah. Moonview Highway Bridge Collision. The collision model for the Moonview Highway Bridge is a lot different than the actual shape of the bridge. It's possible that this is a leftover from an earlier version of the map, but obviously we're not entirely sure why this is. Me T-posing. By using a heavy me on a certain bike while playing online, you'll get stuck in a T-pose, looking like this. Last WFC race. This entry's kind of sad. Like many game shutdowns, you weren't immediately booted off at midnight. Rather, if you were logged in, you could keep playing, but you couldn't log in if you weren't in the match. Mr. Bean posted a video explaining how he identified the exact last match, and there does exist footage of it. Plenty of people played on the final day, but as far as the very last match goes, it was played and recorded by LXPU and you can watch it online.
So we bought up 3 shells and I can't do anything about it because he just got hit and nothing happened. So I'm screwed. Yeah, I couldn't enter. It can't just be a green line and this guy, Erica. It is. I gotta say, this is worldwide. If you watch the stream since the other stream, the video, you will see that is from the worldwide section. It is still Wi-Fi key 212. So Swords can't do anything at all whatsoever unless this guy has him and they do a private room. Yes. You were this. No. Oh no, there goes the connection. Oh no. It is. Oh my god, the capture card is glitched.
James Charles was a hacker. Okay, this entry is kind of insane. I thought it was a meme at first, but it's 100% true. James Charles was a member of the Mario Kart Wii community, but also specifically the Mario Kart Wii hacking community. He had a channel called Jay's Coding, which was proven to be him from years ago. The channel has since blown up artificially after people figured out who this kid was. Troy even did a video where he played with James, who confirmed the information about this channel to be true. Ski drift. This is something I also got incorrect in the first video. It's a technique in the game basically used for realigning your character if you make a mistake. This is what it looks like. Useless grass patches. These are patches of grass that you probably won't ever see during regular gameplay, like this one on Moonview Highway. One-sided road. As you can guess, Mario Kart Wii Collision is a bit weird. With that said, one of the weird features of this game is that the collision in roads is always one-sided, meaning you can pass through the roads if you come up under them. This was notably taken advantage of for the Rainbow Road World Record. Also, Mr. Bean created this fun track where you can go above and below the track essentially by making the collision work on both sides, but it has a ton of weird effects on the game. Mushroom Peaks theme. The Mushroom Peaks theme is a score made for newer Super Mario Bros., a mod for New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I don't think there's any relation between the two as far as what's contained in the music or the level itself, but it's probably just a little Easter egg or shout out to Mushroom Peaks. World record failed due to earthquake. On October 15, 2019, Mario Kart Wii player Cole tweeted that he failed a world record attempt due to an earthquake. He stated that his monitor started shaking on the third lap. This potential run has been the only Luigi Circuit run with a sub 23 second first lap, so this is a major loss for the community and Cole. Mario Kart Wii physics don't exist. Obviously this is a joke, but again, just look at these physics. They make 0 sense. Mama Mario Kart. In one of the title screens that appears after the game has been completed, there's a very slim chance you can hear this voice clip from Mario. It's an edited version of Mario saying Mario Kart from the Mario Kart channel banner. I'm not exactly sure what the odds are, but it's extremely rare to hear it. Third battle balloon. In the background screen for battle mode, there was at 1.3 balloons instead of 2 balloons and a coin. Though this was eventually swapped, instead of removing the third balloon, it was shrunk down 100 times, meaning you can't see it with the Wii's low resolution. But it still lurks there, watching you. Shooting star out of bounds bounce. This refers to a shortcut that would require a lot of technical stuff to explain, but essentially you use the shooting star on desert hills to smack this pipe and fly out of bounds to be respawned right in front of the finish line. Technically this doesn't require the shooting star, but the shooting star helps to get some more distance. Home menu banner logo flash is Japanese. Strangely, when the home menu logo flashes up like this, the flash texture contains the Japanese logo for the game before quickly disappearing. This is true in every version of the game except for the Korean one, regardless of what language you start the game in. Flameflyer was made for time trials. This is a bit of a joke conspiracy theory, but it makes some sense. One could argue that the intention for this bike was simply to go fast, which makes a ton of sense, but I'm sure the developers didn't foresee it being as iconic as it is today, or that its association with time trials would be as strong as it is. Desert Hills Negative Aura. If you're not familiar with this concept, I would check out some videos about the negative aura in certain Mario games, but mainly Mario 64, specifically on Wet Dry World. Many people claim that there's just something off about this level, and others have generalized it to include other areas in Mario games. Mario Kart Wii is no exception, and people believe that Desert Hills has a particularly negative aura. While I don't feel it as strong as levels like Wet Dry World, maybe you can sort of feel it here. Tournaments use beta versions of tracks. Interestingly, some of the tournament versions of tracks contain elements from earlier builds of the game that were eventually changed or removed in the updated version, suggesting that the tournament courses were finished up earlier than the main courses, or that they might have been changed afterwards. There are some small details like the position of flowers on Mario Circuit that you probably wouldn't even notice, or how on Koopa Cape the 3 flags are missing from the giant shell in the distance. In the tournament version of Shy Guy Beach, the cameras that show the course before it's raced on move differently than in the final version. And for a tournament taking place on Mushroom Gorge, it's possible that a glitch leading to an ultra shortcut was patched. Alternate Grumble Volcano Ultra. There are two possible Ultra shortcuts on Grumble Volcano, though this one is slower, only possible in 200cc, and much harder to do, so no one really uses it, but you can see what it looks like here. Shortcuts that don't work. I think this entry is referring to the plenty of theorized shortcuts in the game that have yet to be performed, but with the way that the community is making discoveries about this game, I'm sure there will be dozens of shortcuts discovered within the next 10 years or so. Rainbow Road Ultra performed online. So this entry is referring to a very complicated way to perform the Rainbow Road Ultra that can only be done online because of slight differences in checkpoints. I recommend watching this video to see how it plays out. It's a very well-known video in the community which emphasizes just how much of a tryhard you need to be to pull this off. Online checkpoint differences. Though I don't know how to show this properly to you guys, there are some slight differences in the checkpoints when you play online, mostly having to do with where you respawn, which is how the Rainbow Road Ultra was performed online. Ghost File Overflow. If during a time trial you exceed 6 minutes or 5 minutes while using a Wii wheel, there's too many inputs for your ghost to be saved. But what that also means is that, hypothetically, if you use tools to make as many inputs as possible, you could overflow the ghost file in less than 6 minutes. So can we speedrun this? Obviously we can speedrun this. Wade474 actually did a speedrun where he used tools to spam inputs as quickly as possible to get this soft lock state. He was able to overflow the ghost file in just 24 seconds. Multiple Funky Kongs are NFTs. This is basically a meme which originated from this tweet, and I gotta say I don't love game companies getting into the NFT business, but I could stand to have my mind change if there were Funky Kong NFTs. Old main menu. There are some early menu and file selection related pages remaining in the game's files that aren't normally usable. There are many huge differences here, but it is a little odd that some of them were left in the game's files. Signs under palm trees. So, on Yoshi Falls, if you look under the map, you'll find that for whatever reason, there are signs under these palm trees. For video editing class, I needed to demonstrate 3 green screen effects. This refers to this epic tweet that I'll go ahead and play. I'm also going to go ahead and give a warning to headphone users for this one right here. It's a meme that comes from Maddie Alt. Just watch. Item box in ending. In the ending sequence of Luigi's Circuit, there's an inaccessible item box located deep under the map, sort of like the Donkey Kong ones from earlier. Not sure why this is, but it was probably just put in accidentally. Funky Stadium Skybox. Despite Funky Stadium taking place indoors, it actually has a skybox that is technically used but never visible during normal gameplay. It's actually the same one from DK Summit. Luma dies in ceremony. This is hopefully a meme, but I think it's commenting on how the Lumas in the end credits and awards ceremony appear to have different colors. So naturally, the most likely explanation is that Luma died in a car crash and was replaced to keep the fans from demanding increased safety measures in Mario Kart. Naturally. Bowser's Castle Cannon. So we know there's no cannon on Bowser's Castle, but for whatever reason there's an unused sound effect for the cannon loaded up when Bowser's Castle is raised. This could suggest that there was a cannon at some point, but it was removed. Ending screen Mii oversight. In the ending screen, there's a square where the M logo should be on the shoulder of the Mii. It's a small bug that can actually be fixed relatively easily by messing around with the model, which fixes it to look like this. Race and replay glitch. If a ghost file overflows and you watch the replay while hovering over the restart button, you'll be put into a time trial race which, once completed, will soft lock the game. You can actually see it in this video. Mario Circuit shouldn't exist. This is obviously just a meme. CTGP2. So this was likely just made up for the iceberg because of how popular CTGP is, and everyone knows that all good things obviously need a sequel. But to get serious, Mr. Bean basically adds anything we need into CTGP, so it's pretty unnecessary to make a whole new one. Now, there have been proposed alternative projects here and there, but none of them have ever managed to even get close to CTGP in scale, and in all honesty, we probably won't ever see a sequel. But I also said that in my Wii Sports Iceberg video a month before Switch Sports was announced, and no, I'm never going to let that go, and maybe once I've said it, it'll happen, so who knows, if tomorrow there's a CTGP trailer dropped, you can thank me. Minimap icons are bugged in live view. In online play, if you watch a live replay and switch from one character to another, the shadow drop and the character's minimap icon will move to the right instead of remaining in the center. It persists until the race is finished. Mission Game Mode 7. Mode 0x07, which is actually the 8th mode, though referred to as the 7th in a popular Mr. Bean video, has absolutely zero code in the game, meaning the devs either skip the number 7 or completely strip this game mode of all of its code, which is weird because we know they leave plenty of stuff behind in this game. This game's files are like a kitchen sink, it's just full of random stuff, but for whatever reason this game mode isn't in there. Was it perhaps something so dark and horrible that the devs were forced to remove it? Not a chance. But is it fun to speculate? Absolutely. Allier videos. Some of Allier's first YouTube videos on his More Allier side channel were of Mario Kart Wii. He has a 24-episode series that you can still watch. Unironically playing battle mode. I believe this is a meme just commenting on how basically no one plays battle mode that much because it's not nearly as fun as racing. If you do unironically play it though, good for you. I'm happy that you're happy. Unused Coconut Mall assets in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Okay, this is super interesting. So when Nintendo went back to create a version of Coconut Mall for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's DLC, they actually used materials that weren't in the original but that were supposed to be. Essentially, they took data that appeared in the files of Mario Kart Wii, cut content, or accidentally cut content, and they fixed it in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe version. B-Squobe pointed this out. It's a couple of very small details like an added Pianta and some benches. You can find them in the original game's data, but they weren't actually put into Coconut Mall, but they've been added for the new version. It's pretty cool that Nintendo went all the way back to Mario Kart Wii's files to fix this. King Boo SC glitch. If you try and do the same character glitch with King Boo, the game just crashes. Moonview Highway Inverted Pyramid. North of the minimap model on Moonview Highway, there's a teeny tiny inverted pyramid that you can only see with the model viewer. It obviously doesn't fit in with the map and makes little sense. Missing Coconut Mall block. Right around here, there's a piece of the wall missing on Coconut Mall. You'd probably never notice this while racing the track, though. Matsuoka's Shadow. For this entry, you'll need to know who Shuzo Matsuoka is. Matsuoka is a retired Japanese tennis player who co-starred in some Wii commercials, where they actually make their own Miis. These Miis would be sent out to Japanese Wiis via Wii Connect 24 as a part of a promotion from Nintendo. Now, for some reason, when you go to select a Mii in the rankings menu, you can see a compressed version of Matsuoka's Mii's shadow. You only see it briefly, but it's such a strange detail. Nintendo must have assumed that they could use this as a placeholder shadow and that the community wouldn't figure out who it was, but obviously we did. Wall clips are intentional. This is sort of a joke. It's almost certain that Nintendo didn't intend for wall clips to be in the game, and that doesn't seem to fit in with intended gameplay, but who knows? Maybe some aspects of the physics were intentionally not patched up because they made the game more fun. Likely, this was just due to bugs not being discovered during testing. Some of these clips are so insane that I have no idea how Nintendo could have predicted them being used. Stray pixels on title screen. This is an extremely slight detail that you might never be able to get out of your head once I point it out to you. On the title screen for the game, you can see a few colored pixels to the right of the Wii logo. They're just chilling there without a care in the world. They're only there for the Mario and Luigi and Peach screens, but it's such a weird little detail. Super grinding is an Easter egg. So super grinding is an incredibly difficult strategy requiring tools to perform, and it's unlikely that Nintendo anticipated it being in the game whatsoever. Maybe though, just maybe, it's an elaborate Easter egg that Nintendo planned all along. Moonview Highway is Japanese road system propaganda. Many video games contain hidden messages. As you might have noticed, the cars in Moonview Highway drive on the left side of the road like cars in Japan. In most countries, cars drive on the right side of the road, which is actually a bad thing. Since most people are right-eye dominant, it's better to have them seeing oncoming traffic with their better eye, and there does seem to be evidence that left-hand driving is safer. So is Nintendo saying something about left-hand driving? Perhaps poking fun at Americans for their inferior driving system? Who knows? DDR start line in tournaments. Very strangely, in tournament mode, there's always a start line on the minimap, which is nothing out of the ordinary. But in Dry Ruins, it's missing. This is probably just a little oversight, but it isn't noticed that frequently because tournament mode isn't played anymore. Mario Kart Black is official. Mario Kart Black is a 2010 texture pack from Mario Kart Wii created by Rubits with some dark themes. Mario Kart Black is also the name of a pretty lame creepypasta involving the game, and obviously neither of these are official in any capacity whatsoever. Hop dodge loose definition. This entry refers to the fact that a hop dodge kind of refers to slightly different techniques, and there's an ongoing debate about what truly is and what isn't a hop dodge. There's a good video here that explains the controversy. Walmart is the reason Funky Kong was added. This entry has to do with Walmart Canada Gaming tweeting about Funky Kong, and perhaps this is some allusion to a larger Walmart Nintendo conspiracy theory, but that's a subject for another video. CTGP Police. Japanese Mario Kart player Zero got a visit from law enforcement during a CTGP update, which he joked about on Twitter. The police had nothing to do with CTGP, so this is just a meme. Acceleration A0 and A1. So the creator of the Iceberg explained to me that what they meant to say here was acceleration S0 and S1, which are unused values stored in the game. That's why they're so low down on the Iceberg. Magic Cruiser is literally a dead Kamek. Is Magic Cruiser a dead Kamek? This is super suspicious since you can't place him in the game. However, these bolt-looking things here led me to believe this is actually metal and not a person. Mr. Bean is a Nintendo employee. You might think Mr. Bean could be a Nintendo employee based on how much he knows about this game, but this is just a conspiracy joke. If he worked for Nintendo, he would have made his discoveries a lot earlier because of insider information, and in reality, he's just a dedicated, awesome member of the community. Losing Racer. This is a spoof entry on the Iceberg, probably just originating from the way the racer faces off of a cliff in the losing sequence. In the game, you survive falls much greater than this, so this is obviously not the correct or intended interpretation. Bowser Bike True Meaning. Based on the creator's response to this question, this is a joke. Sorry, guys. The Shock is Funky Kong's alter ego. This entry comes from a pretty funny comment from this YouTube video, which is basically just a recording of all Funky Kong's voice lines. I'll go ahead and read it for you. I invented a whole storyline around 25 seconds. I thought he was saying The Shock, and I imagined The Shock is Funky Kong's alter ego who's really good at racing, has superpowers of some sort, and is triggered in the same way Shazam is. If you combo right, it sounds like he's exclaiming how he's not The Shock, which I thought would be like Clark Kent saying he's not Superman. On the subject of Superman, I made Toadette his Lois Lane, and Baby Luigi his successor. Donkey Kong... Nicknamed Dong, kept getting hit by all colors of shell, and Wario is supposed to be some kind of mafia boss, but I beat the game before I could develop their characters. Also, the Shock's nemesis is supposed to be Reality, but I never even figured out who Reality was. After Mario Kart Wii, the Shock became so good at racing that he ascended beyond time, and that's why we haven't seen him in any other Mario Kart since. Nobody is supposed to say the Shock, or he will attack them from the beyond and mess up whatever you're doing. Hypnosis. Dong got sniped, the Shock. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let me know if you guys want to hear the full clip of me reading that off, because I genuinely lost it when reading that. I have no idea. I have no idea why someone would sit down and type out something like that, but that is the most imaginative and creative thing I've heard all day. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Hey all, so I apologize for any change in voice quality here. I have to use my phone for this last entry. Ending credits frame 2610 is a specific frame where Koopa Troopa's model swaps from the high poly to the low poly version just for one frame. This happens when the camera is far from the character, so this could mean that the camera got just far enough for one frame that it required a model switch, but I'm not entirely sure. Cowboy Jed True Identity. So we don't actually know who this actor is. He's a fascinating character because most Wii commercials at that time followed a similar format and it wasn't anything like this, but yeah, his identity is just unknown. NOE3. This final entry comes from B Squo, where he talks about him looking through footage of the top 10 rankings when the game first came out, and he noticed a person named NOE_03. He then speculated that this could be a representative of Nintendo of Europe, and it makes sense that they'd be ranked so high since they were able to play the game before release. Now, obviously this is a stretch, but he references an instance of an official Wii in the Internet video from Italy with a player named NOEMAC. So perhaps there was a semi-official nomenclature for accounts associated with Nintendo of Europe, that being NOE and then whatever else. This is just a theory, this could be a copycat or someone who has some other personal attachment to the name, but who knows? Alright guys, I'm so glad you stayed to the end of the video. This was super fun to make and I hope that you learned at least something today. If you want to get back into Mario Kart Wii, I encourage you to check out the community as it's very much alive and well today. I want to again thank Chillin' for creating this iceberg, Bento Cage for all the help, seriously I could not have done it without him, NoClip for having all these awesome models, and B Squo and the cutting room floor for having so much information. I encourage you all to check out my other Nintendo videos and know that there's more Nintendo icebergs on the way, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see it. Also, like the video and drop a comment if you have more trivia to share or if you just want to share your favorite Mario Kart Wii memory. That's all for tonight, guys, and stick around. Good night.